everybody. Welcome to Moments with Jack. I'm Terry Stiles, and I am with Jack Curtis, Township Supervisor for Oxford Township. And it's been a while. We haven't been here since it was cold, and today it's 86 degrees, yay. And so it's not going to be a heavy conversation like it has been. I just want to find out how things are going in the community. Thanks again for meeting with us, Jack.
Oh, you're welcome, Terry. It's always good to meet with you.
It's been too long.
Yes.
We need to do this more often. So I just want to give everybody updates on fun stuff that's going on. We're finally all out in the community, out and about.
Yes.
You can't go anywhere without seeing people on the Polly Ann
Something
Trail.
going on.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Downtown's full, Polly Ann Trail's full.
Right.
Even our pocket park, Helen Smith Pocket Park out in the front. You can't go out to your car at the end of the day without seeing kids and people stop there.
Fantastic. And they're taking that whole trail all the way around, which is great. And now there's concerts in the park are starting and the farmers market.
Yes.
So that's where I'm going to start. How's it going out at Seymour Lake Park? We had Seymour Celebration already. We had fireworks, and we've also started the farmers market. So how is it going out there?
I talked to both Melissa and Phil after each event. The farmers market is drawing in good crowds.
Great.
They have a lot of vendors. In fact, we have more vendors than space now, which is good.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, they try to
Fantastic.
balance and blend the venue at the park, at the market,
Yeah.
and some vendors have to be turned away because they have too many of that kind, and you don't want it all to be one.
Sure.
Melissa does a great job at balancing the venue. And Phil, he just came off the Seymour Celebration,
Yeah.
which brought a lot of people.
It did.
The weather held out good for it.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people there, and very, very, very few negative comments. We had no real problems out there, and I guess there was one incident, but we're not going to let one bury all the good. So,
And that wasn't all that drastic and tragic, which is really great.
No.
And then Hannah St. Juliana Garden also opened up,
That
right?
had its grand opening, well
A lot
attended.
of people.
A lot of people.
Very
Yes, ma'am.
good. Yay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so on around the community. Speaking of community, talk about the Purple Heart community designation and how did that happen?
Well, Darren came in from Post 108.
Okay.
Darren is a Purple Heart recipient, and I'm going to screw up his last name. Sorry,
We'll
Daryl.
put it down on the...
Darren, yes, sorry, Darren.
Yeah.
It was all an effort by Darren and CJ. CJ went to the like communities that did Purple Heart. He went to the commanders from the state of Michigan. We did all of the legwork around getting Oxford to be a Purple Heart community. So we're very glad to have that, recognizing our veterans, especially those that were injured in any of the conflicts. So
We've had
very well.
so many community members in a conflict or in the service. It's really impressive. Again, we had Memorial Day, and that was really great. I've looked at pictures. I wasn't able to attend, but I saw the pictures that CJ took of everybody coming up that hill, and it just makes me so proud to be part of this community.
Sure is. I was at the beginning of the parade. I get out there and just watch the activities.
Yeah.
And it was mentioned, boy, oh boy, look what Oxford does for such a little town in America to acknowledge the efforts of the veterans. So it's great. It's great to see.
Yeah, that happens year round.
Yes.
Also the laying of the wreaths and everything else.
Many opportunities, Flag Day, laying of the wreaths, Memorial Day events. We do an exponential effort in acknowledging all of our vets.
Speaking of that, so how's it going with the cemetery? I know there's been quite a bit of work going on with the Township Cemetery on Burdick. Is that complete? Are they still working on things there? Sorry, I threw you a curveball.
Yeah, you did, but that's okay. We have a cemetery meeting at least once a month.
Okay.
Oxford has 4 cemeteries in the township that require gentle care for those that are laid to rest there. However, a lot of work needs to be done. These cemeteries are almost 200 years old.
Yeah.
And some of the trees are falling down, some of them are being removed. We've added some. We have removed and fixed some asphalt. We've paved some areas
I
of the
saw that.
cemetery. We've changed the ingress to stop water from flooding some areas. We've recently surveyed and registered the survey of the cemeteries. We are going to be fencing the western edge of the southern cemetery off Burdick
On the
Street.
hill.
So yeah, to identify where we're at, excuse me, clean up some of the areas that aren't being touched right now, and opening up a whole entire acre behind what is almost inaccessible right now.
That northwest edge area
No, it's the
near the new homes.
no, it's on the south side of Burdick, back
the
by
south side.
Akrams Boulevard, Akrams Road, back in
Okay.
there.
Yeah, I was thinking the north side.
Though that cemetery is almost 200 years old, and in there is an acre property, but the fence line wasn't defined correctly and made access back to it very difficult. So we just surveyed it. We're going to get our fence going, planning for the future so that some other generation doesn't have to worry about it. We know there's a concern right now, so we're going to address that. But we've invested in stone wall, retaining walls repairs. We're doing legalities of fixing headstones.
Oh,
It is the,
take some research.
excuse me.
That must take research to
Oh
do
boy.
that.
Well, here's an example. You have a headstone that's knocked over. We just can't take taxpayer dollars and fix a cemetery plot.
Got it.
How do you find somebody that was buried in 1840, 1850, 1860 to go back and have these things fixed and cared for? We also have a lot of grave sites that were sold 100 years ago that are unoccupied. Well, who owns those anymore? All the laws that regulate cemetery do's and don'ts are being reviewed, and we're going to try to address those concerns.
So I'm really glad I asked you that question and threw you that curveball, because there were so many layers that you just informed us all on. Most of us just go by there and go, oh, they cut down some trees, and that's it. Complain about it. But here's all the reasons why. That's really cool. Thank you.
There are many reasons.
Yeah.
Legalities, and mostly concern for those that have passed, any relatives that go there visiting. We want to make sure that everything is clean, correct, right, safe, and it takes a lot to do.
And the onus falls on the township.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Development. I know there's some talk about Oxford Golf Course becoming a development. I know that you have some development going on behind the township building, right? Is there
it's
new
almost
homes coming up?
Yeah, it's almost built out over here
And that's
in
it?
Westlake Sub, but we do have some interest with the landowner. Currently, they're working with the ITC transmission line company to move that tower off that lake island and open that lake up back in there. It's 300 and some acres with a vast array of zoning, anything from suburban farms right down into residential multiples.
And so that's one owner, that 300 and some acres?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not multi, and you
No,
don't have to
it's
deal
one
with
owner,
splitting that off?
owns the property,
Okay.
and yes.
So will that have to go through a rezoning?
No.
No.
That's already earmarked for different levels of zoning.
Okay.
So when the owner comes in to the planning commission and makes application, that'll all be determined then what's going to go where and the best use of the land for the landowner.
So when in building a home, if say somebody came out here and bought 5 acres and want to build a home, is there a lot limit size for that?
There are so many ordinances
So
and
they would have
regulations,
to check with
right?
building department.
Building
Is that who
department.
they would go to?
All of our stuff is online, but you brought out a point. If I bought 5 acres, I just want to build a house. You know, most generally you have to meet a setback 50 feet from the side yard, 25 from the rear yard. On 5 acres, that's not usually a problem. So those zoning things are all checked before anything is approved or a building permit is issued.
So people that want to move out here, I see all the time on the Facebook page that there's new people out here and they're getting their picture taken. The best thing they could do then is just to come to the township first and start talking to them about what's allowable where, right?
If you're building, not buying
Yeah,
a
no,
current
yeah,
home, but
right,
if you're
right.
building a new home, the best thing to do is to research the township website, go to the building department,
Great.
and look at the ordinances.
Good.
Once you can't get through all of that stuff, most of your builders or developers can, and they will help you get through it. If not, you would come to the building department and they would help you.
Okay. And you have somebody there at all times, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Our zoning consultant is here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Cheryl Lotan, Tim London, and Stacy Falconer are there most every day.
So, okay, and I want to get to, well, okay, let's do that right now. You have summer hours.
Yes, we do. Summer hours are instituted because communities have people that we have to service. Those people are on vacation. The busiest we get is with builders in the summer. Sure, tax time is tough, water bill time is tough, but we've instituted so many forms online, so many ways to pay bills by credit card,
It's really nice.
through an ACH at your bank, that we have seen a reduction in people coming in here.
Wow.
For example, our building department, while it was open 5 days a week and staffed with 3 people, building inspection requests, 80% of them now come online.
Wow.
We've reduced that workload
huge, yeah.
from telephone calls and people coming in to schedule it.
Traffic,
You can go online through BSNA, schedule your inspection. There's no need for you to come in here.
Sure.
So we've seen a dramatical drop in foot traffic on Friday. We took a survey of like communities and surrounding communities, and they have, like us, have extended our hours, and they have closed on Friday.
What do you mean by extending your hours?
Well, instead of an hour lunch, we take in half an hour.
Got it.
We now stay
More
open
available.
till 5:30 at night instead of 5 o'clock. So we gained an hour every day, and
Somewhere, right.
yeah, where it's feasible for people, residents to come in.
Yeah, that's really convenient, that 5:30 thing. Some
And just
people work
like
till 5.
Myself, Treasurer Ferrari, Clerk Wright, 99% of the time we're going to answer our phone on Friday. So if something comes up that needs addressed right away, I'm almost available 24/7. I selectively choose who I'm going to answer my phone with on Saturday and
24/7.
Sunday.
Yeah.
But
blame you.
I have to be available just as the other elected officials are.
And I need to say, you know, people expect you to be here from 7 to 7 every day. An elected official really doesn't even have to do that.
We have no
So
hours.
you're very, yes, your ethic is your hours.
Yes,
Yeah.
I work half days. I work 7 to 7. That's 12 hours.
Yeah, it's your
So no, some days I get here this morning, I get here at 6.
I know.
I have things going on throughout the day. I may not be done till 6.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you know what?
Right.
Away we go.
Yeah, well, that's your work ethic. Okay,
Yes.
back to developments. The development on Drainer, is that expanding or is it about complete, or can we talk about?
Which development on Drainer?
So the one that they took over Camp Oakland,
Okay,
how's that development going?
that development is moving along. Excuse me. It's in our process to review the engineering construction documents. There's some engineering issues that our engineer and the developer's engineer are working on.
Okay.
Once those are complete, it'll go to the next stage, which is final site plan.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes.
And then can we talk about the golf course? Oxford
There's
Lake?
really not much to talk about
Okay.
the golf
They
course
sold it.
except for speculation. The golf course is not sold.
Oh, okay. Good,
The-
I'm glad we're talking about it.
Hubbard still own the golf course. Oxford Hills is still doing great. Tim and Jordan Cologne are doing a great job of keeping it going. They're
Good,
all we have is speculation.
good.
We have some big time developers wanting to buy it, wanting to do this, wanting to do that. And you have an owner of the golf course who wants to remain, solvent in the community and deal with their issues they have to deal with. So,
And they've been in this community for 100 years.
oh God, I know
Yeah.
it's over 60.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can remember when I was a young girl.
Yeah, but we have to remember one thing. We will all get
Retire.
older, retire,
Yeah.
and want to move on and
Yeah,
do other
sure.
things. So when they come about, it's going to be looked at very closely.
Sure. Right. To their benefit. Why not?
Yes,
They
and
maintained
to
in
our
this community
benefit.
for years. Yes, you're right
Yes,
about
ma'am.
that. Speaking of our benefit and rumor, speculation, we hear rumor. Aldi's is looking at a piece of land and looking to get it rezoned, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's going on with that?
There's a process to get things rezoned. There is a process to get things through a land split. And there is a process to build a building.
Okay.
Right now, we're in the process of rezoning the land so someone like an Aldi's will come here.
Rezoning it from what to what?
C1 to C2. Commercial 1 to Commercial 2. Commercial 1 limits your building space at 10,000 square feet. C2 allows you to go larger
Okay,
within the footprint of the property.
sure.
So by the size of the property, you limit what you can develop there.
You're also calculating parking at that same time?
In there,
Is that
you're
different?
calculating
Yeah, okay.
parking, stormwater management.
Balancing all that out.
All of that is balanced at the Planning Commission
Got it.
before we rezone and
Beautiful.
or consider rezoning. And then at Planning Commission again, site plan, those are all calculated again for each one of those.
And that's also falling within the master plan speculations, right?
Yes, master plan is set up that along the corridor of M24, that is commercial property.
Got it.
When the property was developed and they put the Waterstone sign out in front with the guard shack, that property is on, all of that is before where the commercial property is. That needs to go back where residents are, beyond the clubhouse.
Oh, that makes all kinds of sense.
Well,
Yeah.
the property to the north is currently owned by the Henry Ford Hospital System. And they would love to come here and do an emergency center. As our community grows, you're going to see a hospital or emergency medical center owned by Henry Ford on that corner. Right next to it, you have C2, McDonald's property. That was carved out of two pieces of property, rezoned and a special land use. So it's zoned commercial, but you try to facilitate someone coming to develop. So in this instance, the petitioner for the rezone came forward with a plan showing an Aldi's. Now, I'm not going to quote the exact number, but if it was 12,000 square feet, that's 2,000 square feet more than C1.
What it should
They
have.
could have asked for a variance and came in and gambled on that. Instead, they came in for C2, clean, rezone.
Yeah,
Here's what we're going to
easy.
do.
Yeah.
Let the cat out of the bag, Aldi's.
Great.
However, Aldi's has not yet come to us to petition for that, so we have to
Got
be
it.
careful.
Anything else in the works up there?
Right now, no. I talk to a lot of people. You talk to people who want to come here. While we would like things to come here, we don't control that because I'll give you an example. I went out yesterday. Chicken Shack opens today.
Yeah.
Chicken Shack has franchise fees that they charge. They have monthly or
Right.
royalty fees that they charge.
Sure.
They have advertising fees that they charge. You have to have a certain amount of money in liquid assets. You have to have solid assets. You have to have a plan. So
You have to pay for the property.
you're looking at
building.
over $1 million.
Sure.
So if you'd
Wow.
like a White Castle,
White Castle is what you want.
bring in about $2 million.
Bring it
They
in,
won't
bring it
allow you to have one here because it doesn't meet the demographics.
Demographics.
But the franchise fees and building and everything is
Wow.
about $2 million.
Wow.
So Vincent Joe's,
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
those, you know,
yeah,
the demographics
Trader
don't
Joe's.
fit us. Trader Joe's,
Yeah.
they don't fit us. They've
Yet.
looked at us. We've banged on their door. We don't fit their
Not
need.
yet. Not
Yep.
yet. Eventually.
Eventually,
Because all those people that are crowded in Lake Orion are going to start moving up this way.
you know, that's the
There's
problem.
my 2 cents. I've heard
There's the
there.
problem.
Yeah.
we contribute to that problem in Lake Orion. We contribute to the problem in Lapeer.
Sure we do.
Because
Yeah.
we don't have the services here, so we have to go to Lake Orion
Yes.
Aldi's.
Yep.
We have to go to Lapeer Aldi's.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, we're going to help with that and keep one here to go to this Aldi's.
Which would be nice.
Would be nice. So it's a problem, but we are causing it.
Yeah. Well,
Those
we're
of us that
contributing.
moved
We're
here.
contributing to that.
Yes.
And we're exempt. We've been here since the 80s, right?
I've been here since the early
70s,
70s.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I kind of
I'm a
have
lot
too,
older.
actually. I sort of it came in at the end of the 70s.
Yeah.
And I think anything that you want to, is there any new grants being poured back into the community that CJ's working on? Or can we talk about that?
Now, there are new grants. CJ has done a monstrous job at ascertaining grants and contributions.
Donations.
Right now, we have several grants that have been awarded to us, but we cannot talk about them until
Okay.
they do their public announcement.
Great.
So there are good things coming and things that will
Good.
help our community grow in the proper way. And I don't mean development. I mean by public services.
Sure.
Contributions.
Which is what a lot of them have been so far.
Oh, most
the
definitely.
pocket parks and-
All of our parks and safety paths are
Yeah.
either grants or contributions. We have a new park coming. We're working with Koenig Materials on the Pollyant
Yes.
Trail. Levi's Link is a park that CJ thought of, our grants communications manager. And I use his name profoundly, CJ
Yes.
Carnacchio. CJ has put great efforts into getting a contribution of land from Koenig Materials.
Right there in Lakeville.
And they're getting contributions for the recreational equipment that's going to be in the park. Passive exercise equipment, a bike fixing station and things like that. None of that's being done with township funds.
No.
The money's coming for that equipment, the donation for the land from the Koenig Materials people. You know, these are things that he looks at to bring to our community at no cost to us.
He's been around long enough to know what we need and
Oh,
how to
yes.
enhance.
Yes.
And the people to go to. So one last thing, I think. You have a new township trustee.
Yes, we do.
And?
We had a sorry vacating of one of our trustees' positions. Paul Shapira filled that. He filled that at our last board meeting.
Very good.
He brings a vast amount of knowledge in to our community from banking, from investments. He worked on companies that were failing, and he made hard decisions to turn those ships around, letting people go, but streamlining them, getting back to profitability. So we look forward to his expertise in those things here in the
Very
township.
good. Yeah.
Yes.
So he's already had one meeting under his belt, or was that just a ceremonial attendance?
One meeting under his belt.
Okay, good.
But Terry, what goes on before these meetings, we try to do them efficiently and effectively. Rather than hold our meeting in public
5
and have it 10 hours long and 5 hours long.
Into some of those.
A lot of the simple questions that can be answered are asked of each trustee. They may have a concern about traffic. They may have a concern about legality. They may have a concern about who's donating and what's going on. We answer those questions on a daily basis.
Beautiful.
Not holding
Yeah,
a
meeting.
quiet meeting,
Yeah.
but just a question asked makes us more efficient later on. Paul did a great job. We talked before the meeting about the Red Book policies and procedures, and we got a good learning of that. So he hit the ground with his feet running, and
Good.
it's a benefit to our township.
Yes, it is. Tell him
Yes.
we wish him luck.
I will.
I think that's it. Do you have anything that I didn't ask you about that you would like the community to know?
Well, there is.
Safety or anything
Yeah,
like that?
we don't beat it to death, but we don't beat it enough. CJ's other activity of the boulders,
Oh, yeah.
locating historical sites in our community.
Nice.
We have one place that's Stony Lake Park for Ty Cobb. He is working on getting one placed right now for the founder of the gravel pits.
Very good.
Yeah, there are so many that he's got going on.
Great.
The Chevrolet vice president that came out here and had his retreat home, donated the land to the nuns, and now it's a,
I'm
church, or
drainer,
a school
yeah.
property.
Yeah.
All of these boulders,
Nice.
plaques are donations and
Beautiful.
contributions. They are not funded by taxpayer dollars, but they make walking and living in our
Mm-hmm. Oh my
community more of an experience rather than, hey, who did that? So what about that?
right.
There is a history here,
And
rich in history,
He's bringing it alive.
and he's bringing it
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
alive for us to travel on the safety paths that he's got done for us, and the Pollyant Trail,
Mm-hmm.
and just it's all about walkability in the community.
Sure is, yeah.
Yes.
We're going to go do that right now.
Yes.
Well, thanks for meeting with us again, and it was a fun conversation.
You're welcome.
Informative again,
Okay.
and we will be back soon.
Thank you, Terry.
Enjoy your summer and be safe.